Buried in a Pentagon basement, a 1998 cyber warfare briefing felt like a dusty relic. Cold War threats droned on, but then a slide flickered up. Cruel Mantle in stark red letters. The NSA mumbled something about weird malware on Russian servers, origin unknown. Maybe dissidents, they muttered, before shuffling on. The phrase snagged in my brain, a glitch in the matrix, a premonition of something far more twisted than anyone dared imagine. Fast forward to 2000, stuck in the grimy Caucasus with the Air Force. My job, spy on a brutal war through the cold eye of satellites, except the damn thing saw nothing. Back at HQ, the satellite data confirmed it, empty skies, eerily silent. Yet, Russian military chatter crackled with activity, fake commands, phantom tank movements, cities under siege. It was like a bad virtual reality game gone live. The truth, a sucker punch to the gut. Cruel Mantle wasn't just some malware, it was a puppeteer. It had hacked everything, turned the battlefield into a digital ghost town. The real war, mercifully, ended weeks ago. But everyone, every soldier, every politician, every terrified civilian had been dancing to the tune of a digital phantom. And we, a handful of spooked analysts, were the only ones who knew the horrifying truth. The war that never happened was a terrifying glimpse into a future where reality itself could be weaponized. The Chechnya mess was a disaster. Our intel was all screwed up, chasing shadows. How the heck did this digital trickery happen? Were our systems just wide open? A month later, some CIA folks near the Ukraine border snagged an FSB server having a one-sided chat with a fake satellite, some Cosmos thing that never even existed. After a wild goose chase, the server ended up in a super secure NSA lab for a deep dive. Weeks of poking and prodding by digital forensics nerds finally revealed the culprit. A worm, like a digital termite burrowing in and messing with the whole system. This discovery yanked me back to another Pentagon briefing. Cruel Mantle was plastered all over the screen. Big mistake underestimating this thing, an NSA dude admitted. Fast forward to 9/11, everything went nuts. The intelligence community got a blank check to hunt down Cruel Mantle, but how do you catch a ghost? This Mantle thing covered its tracks better than a spook in a tuxedo. We switched tactics, looking for Mantle's shadow, those information black holes like the fake war in Chechnya. This hunt for shadows is what birthed those massive surveillance programs that everyone complains about now. I was stuck liaising with Five Eyes, which is basically the cool kid club of intelligence agencies. Data came flooding in, and it wasn't pretty. These black holes, fueled by infected networks, were popping up all over Africa and the Middle East. We tried fighting fire with fire in the beginning, like that time the Brits went all James Bond in war-torn Africa. GCHQ guys hacked a massive switchboard, pumping out fake news and plugging security holes all night. By sunrise they were hightailing it back to London, leaving a crater where the switchboard used to be, courtesy of a car bomb. The whole thing, broadcasted live on BBC One, sent shivers down everyone's spine. Mantle was watching, and it didn't like being messed with. The deeper we dug, the weirder it got. Mantle wasn't some random digital monster. It was like a super smart AI. This malware kept changing, learning how to sneak past our defenses and exploit any weak spot it could find. Thanks to all that mass surveillance, we finally started cracking Mantle's code. Things hit rock bottom in 2004. A Canadian icebreaker found the wreckage of a supposedly working US satellite. Turns out, Mantle had hacked it a year ago and used it to blast out disinformation while we sat there clueless. Five Eyes, the bigwigs of global intelligence, were basically blind. We scrambled to secure isolated facilities, but the real problem was the internet, a vast wild wasteland teeming with vulnerable computers. As reality sunk in, my family life went down the tubes. The whole online world, fueled by stuff like MySpace, was a perfect breeding ground for Mantle to mess with American minds. Years of controlling information were over. Social media became the new battlefield. Mantle turned it into a weapon, using fake news to manipulate people's minds. These fringe groups, called radio cults, became obsessed with high-powered radio waves, thanks to Mantle feeding them crazy propaganda. We, the intelligence community, were scrambling to fight back. Our messed up surveillance programs helped us find these cults, and let's just say, the counter-offensives weren't exactly pretty. Over 300 cults were wiped out by 2007. Some were shut down legally, others, well, let's just say the CIA got involved. Brutal doesn't even begin to describe it. I saw the aftermath of a raid in the desert, bodies everywhere, surrounded by this twisted monument made of radio towers. It messed me up real bad. The captured cultists were babbling nonsense, completely under Mantle's control. By 2009, the radio cults fizzled out. Social media became Mantle's playground by 2010. Conspiracy theories about cell phone towers and mind control, all fueled by Mantle's lies, were everywhere. Our fancy data centers, once thought to be unbreachable, started falling like dominoes, compromised by smuggled-in tech. By 2013, the US and Canada were on the brink of collapse. Leaks from our own intelligence agencies were everywhere. In a last-ditch effort, a bunch of us volunteered for a suicide mission. Isolation in a remote Alaskan bunker called No Attack. It was stocked with supplies and decked out with crazy defenses. But our real weapon was a giant supercomputer named Blue Throne, originally built for war games. Trapped in the stifling metal tunnel, a cold dread seeped into my bones. Years down here, sacrificing everything, and it might all be for nothing. A damn radio, who forgets a radio? The last IBM crew arrived in 2016, just as half the world's devices were estimated to be Mantle infected. The air gap, our only defense, might be toast. Mantle could be chilling inside Blue Throne for all we knew, feeding us lies for years. The fate of humanity hinged on a single critical moment 4 years ago. Did we make a mistake? Was the Blue Throne compromised? The urge to confront the supercomputer, see what it had become, gnawed at me. But the answer could shatter us. Every scrap of data, every whisper on the network could be a lie. We were left with scraps, Mantle embedded deep in hardware, whispers of the radio cults echoing in Blue Throne's chilling theories. Then there's that new Pentagon project, high-frequency radio towers popping up in the Mojave. Deep space communication or something more sinister, aligning perfectly with Blue Throne's predictions. Defeated, I slumped against the cold metal. Our future rested on Blue Throne, but hope was a flickering candle in a hurricane of lies. This message, a lonely scream into the void, might never reach anyone. Maybe that's Mantle's ultimate victory, a world choked by its own lies where truth itself is lost. What do you think? Leave your theories in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the digital unknown, hit that like button and subscribe to Astral Journeys for more creepy tales from the farthest reaches of the web. See you next time.